What is up, Instagram? I have some really awesome news. I want to talk my precancer cells, and I want to talk about the LEEP and how many messages that I have gotten over the last 2 days since I posted about it. Talking about how so many women have gone through it. Have gone through. And then there's this stigma that you can't talk about it and they're supposed to go through it alone, which I think is BS. So first and foremost, I got my biopsy results back today, and they are, my margins are clear, which means I don't have cervical cancer and I no longer have any type of abnormal cells. So the way the abnormal cells are, you either have stage 1 through 3, and I had stage 3, which happened in a year's time. So I am super diligent about going to any preventative care for myself, just because my mom got cancer so young. So I take all preventative measures, whatever that may be. And I went in for my pap smear, and you're technically, once you hit 30, are only supposed to have them every 3 years. So I don't know why they decided to do mine. Maybe just because I was asking questions about if I could have kids and what my levels were and things like that. So they decided to go ahead and do another one, because I just had one a year ago. Came back abnormal. And so from there, I had to go to a colposcopy, which is like a biopsy. They don't do any numbing. They don't do anything like that. They just go in and basically pinch off some tissue in a couple areas of your cervix and test them. And so this has all been going on for like a month, which is why I feel like I've been trying to put on a positive face, but seriously feeling like either I had cancer or am gonna have cancer, or these precancerous cells were going to take away my ability to have kids, which is really freaking stressful. So I had my colposcopy, and I had that done the day or two before my 30th birthday. And they called me and said that I had severe dysplasia, which is stage 3. I had the worst kind of precancer cells before the cancer cells, which is really freaking scary, considering every time that I've ever had a pap smear, it's been normal. I've never had abnormal cells. I've never had any issues besides having endometriosis when I was like, I don't know, probably 19 to 23, which I had that all removed as well. So they're like, you have severe dysplasia. So my immediate reaction, of course, is to get involved in all these groups of other women that have this severe dysplasia, ask them what their symptoms are, ask them what their experiences are. If it turned into cancer, what are my chances? What are my chances of kids? A lot of times, thank you. I'm actually getting it cut today. A lot of times with this stage 3, if they've already had kids, your option is to have a hysterectomy, because it is stage 3. And if mine's already, he said mine was aggressive because it went from nothing to stage 3 in a year. And so I'm like, I'm not having a hysterectomy. I don't have any babies yet. But a lot of women who find out on their like 3-year post-op or 3-year, checkup of having their next pap smear, they're at the age where they've already had children and they're not planning on having any more. So a hysterectomy is an option. Well, that's not an option for me. So I opted for the LEEP procedure, which is loop excision, electrical excision procedure, which is done in the office. And they basically set you up to like this grounding machine, which is also super stressful. And they numb you up with lidocaine and epinephrine shots, which for me, I've had epinephrine shots when I've had issues with my teeth. They use the same type of like numbing. So I knew I was gonna start. I was like about to shake off the table. My heart was racing, my face was hot. That was probably the worst part of it, but it's just an outpatient procedure. So they basically go in and excise the abnormal cells, which, me being a nurse, he was like, do you want to see it? And I was like, yeah, of course. And to me, it looked like about a quarter size, which feels like a lot for taking it out of your cervix. But I was willing to get it all out that way. There's a 95% cure rate if they get it all. So I have been waiting. So that was on Tuesday. And the post-op from that is kind of just how your body handles it. You've got to go through getting rid of it all and letting your body heal. So there's no lifting, there's no squatting, there's nothing like that. You have to be really careful so you don't risk hemorrhaging. But I got my results back today and my margins are clear, which means they got all of my precancer cells. And my chances, I have a 95% chance of a cure rate, which means it's gonna be very unlikely for it to come back. But I do have to have my pap smears done every 6 months for the next 2 years just to make sure. So I just kind of wanted to share my experience with you guys because, like I said, I have talked to so many women and moms that have gone through this step for step, from abnormal to colposcopy to LEEP, and done it alone, done it silently, done it because the fear of the stigma of cervical cancer or having abnormal cells from wherever it comes from. And I just think that I want to be a voice, because if you've been waiting to have your pap smear, if you've been waiting to make your gynecologist appointment, you need to do it now, because it is nothing to joke around about. It is nothing to be ashamed about. It is nothing to be fearful about. It has to happen, because I truly believe, because I was so adamant about getting these preventative tests, that it saved me from having cervical cancer and not being able to have kids. And I don't want to see any of my friends or anyone that I know have to go through this because they waited too long. So that's my experience. I'm so glad to be in the clear. And if you guys have any questions or any, you're going through this currently, whether it's the abnormal cells, whether it's the colposcopy, whether it's the LEEP procedure, if you have any questions, please reach out. I would love to share my experience. If you're in the Springfield area and you're looking for a physician, I would love to recommend the place that I go to as well. They were kind and supportive, got my results back as fast as possible. My physician sat down with me and answered all of my 1,000 medical questions that I had, as far as risks and numbers and, possibilities of what could happen or what was gonna happen and all of that. So I just kind of want to pop on here because I feel like I haven't been my bright and cheery self the last probably month. And that's because this has been weighing on my shoulders and on my family's shoulders, on, my husband. Just the potential, which I know you can't let your mind go there, but it does. And I wanted to validate those feelings, because those feelings are real and they're scary. And with my mom having cancer, I felt like I was going through the whole, with her cancer, they, thought she just had a stomach ulcer and was just having the stomach pain. And so I felt like I was reliving that because she was my best friend and I knew everything about her. I just kept reassuring her it wasn't. So I just felt like almost like this PTSD of dealing with these really scary situations, the abnormal cells, and then having to have this procedure and then having to wait for results, and then them saying, it's actually the worst kind of precancer cells that you have, and let's go get those, and then let's wait a little longer. Like, the waiting game is the absolute worst. The procedures here and there, yeah, it really totally sucked, but I would rather have that again if I could get the results that same day or the next day or whatever, because you just don't know. And then your body's healing and you're just waiting to find out what they found. So I just wanted to kind of pop in and share my experience and just encourage you guys to go get your pap smears, to go get your preventative appointments, because it's what saves lives. And like I said before, I truly think that this saved my life because of how aggressive it was. Even my doctor was surprised that it was grade 3, just because I am healthy, I don't smoke, I'm not overweight, I am active every day, I lift weights, all of the precursors to what makes this grow faster, I don't have. And so the fact that my body wasn't fighting it off was concerning. So I am precancer cells free. They are gone for good. I don't plan on ever having them back, and I am gonna go to the movies or something, or go out to eat and celebrate, because I just feel like me again. I feel like I can come to you guys and I can share my workouts and I can share my life without this hovering over me of what's to come over the summer, what's to come for the rest of my life, because these are big life heavy choices. Kids, not kids, can I have kids, how does this affect that, is it worth the risk, is it worth having this procedure? So that is all. I just wanted to pop on live. That was way too long for a story. Hey, Ann. Hey, Anna. So if you guys are just popping on, I just talked about my results from my severe dysplasia, my precancerous cervical cells that came back free margins, which means I have a 95% cure rate, which means it probably won't come back. And I just wanted to share that with you guys because so many of you have been asking, and also share my experience of the LEEP procedure. LEEP procedure. Anyways, I'm gonna hop off here and go get some groceries and get my hair buzzed tonight, which I'm super excited about, and then go on a date. So, love you guys all very much, and I'll talk to you soon.